What is going on, Phantom Army? It's your boy Phantom Stilts, and welcome back once again, guys, to a brand new tutorial video on the channel. Today we're going to be looking at 4 tips that are going to save your stream from the lagginess, the headaches that you guys are facing, and everything else involving the priority and the quality of your stream. So let's get right into it, guys. Here we go. Now, if you guys were unaware that streaming on a single piece setup is a very intensive process, it's not one of those things that's very easy to do, so you have to have the right equipment. So if you guys are looking for sort of a benchmark of what I use for when I stream on a single piece setup, my setup will be in the description. All of my known components for all of my PC parts will be in the description, so you guys have sort of a benchmark or an idea. So it all has to deal with the quality and the amount of processing power that OBS is taking control of on your desktop, or aka your computer, as you're streaming. There's one that's going to be tweaked in case it is a little bit too high or a little bit too intensive on your system. You might want to dumb it back. That's going to be one of them. And then 2 are just a literal, making that processing power of your OBS or Streamlabs OBS a little bit higher priority in your task manager on the CPU and the general brains of the computer, just running that Streamlabs OBS or OBS a little bit higher priority than anything else on the computer. So let's get right into it, guys. So here we go, guys. We're now in Streamlabs OBS. I apologize for the infinity screens, but it is because I'm projecting my other my main monitor onto OBS. So the main way, or the only way, to find these settings is to go into the settings menu for Streamlabs OBS. And if you guys are unfamiliar with where that is, it's actually right down here in the bottom left-hand corner. This little cog wheel is where you find the settings. So in here we have the settings for OBS. That's going to be where we are finding all of the settings. So the first tip we're going to go over, the first setting we're going to tweak, is going to be in the advanced settings. So I talked about your process priority, or where your OBS is sort of ranking in that process of the different programs and different processes running on your computer. The way you can tell how much of a priority your OBS or your program in general, if you're running your game, if you're running Spotify, if you're running whatever you're running, there's a way to tell it. It's within the task manager. So if you go down, there's a couple of different ways to get to the task manager. So if you go down to your start menu here and you right click on this, you'll see task manager right here in the bottom left. You can also get to your task manager by hitting Control-Alt-Delete, and your task manager will pull up right here. The way to see what processes or what's taking, the most effect, the most processing power on your computer itself is to go to more details here. And then if you see processes here, as you can see, it gives you sort of a readout of the processes and what's taking up the most memory, CPU, disk, network, what have you. As you can see, the vast majority right now, it's not taking up a lot of processing power, but it is Streamlabs, because that's the only program that I have open. So that's one of the ways that you can sort of tell what's taking the most power out, or most processing power of your CPU and other components within your computer. Another really cool place to look for stuff is how your graphics card, CPU, SSD, hard drive, and stuff like that is performing. So you can see how much resources, how many resources that's taking up based on the whatever component you're looking at, CPU, GPU, SSD, hard drive, that kind of thing. So that's right here in the performance tab. So you can see your CPU, memory, disk 1, which is my SSD, USB, which is my external hard drive from Seagate. The disk 1 is obviously the hard drive. Your Ethernet, how much internet bandwidth is coming through the Ethernet cable. If you're hardwired, that's another thing. If you're going to stream, please, for the love of God, use an Ethernet connection. Because if you use a Wi-Fi connection, you're going to have a very, very spotty stream, because Wi-Fi can sort of vary, which is why Ethernet is sort of more of a logical choice when it comes to streaming, because it's a constant bandwidth and a constant signal of internet connectivity coming through that cable, rather than Wi-Fi, which can vary. So those are the 2 areas that I sort of wanted to go off topic and sort of show you, in case you were wondering what's taking up the most processing power of anything on your computer. So like I said, when we want to up our process priority of OBS or Streamlabs OBS, we're going to go into the settings here, and then you're going to want to go into the advanced tab and hit this process priority. Now, like I said, it's going to bump up the priority of your processing for Streamlabs OBS or OBS in general. So I like to keep mine at high. If you have it at above normal, sometimes it can work. It depends on your components and how powerful your computer is. But if you want sort of that oomph, if you want that little extra bump in your quality of stream, whether it's lagging or the quality just doesn't look up to par and that kind of thing, I run mine at high, and that's sort of where I leave it as the process priority. Once you hit that high and you make that selection, it's going to run more than likely Streamlabs OBS at the very forefront of your processing. So that's going to make your stream look that much better, because you can sort of dumb down your settings in games to make it run a little bit smoother on stream. But running your OBS or Streamlabs OBS at a high priority is going to fix a lot of issues and alleviate you from a lot of headaches having to deal with stream quality and things like that. So the second tip we're going to go over also has to do with the amount of processing power, or what kind of priority Streamlabs OBS or OBS has over your computer and your CPU power and your machine in general. That's going to be found within the output tab. It's another profile. So a profile is basically the certain settings for a specific program that you're running on OBS or Streamlabs OBS. The profile is literally talking about the type of, what settings you're using for that particular program. So what I like to do is this profile here is I like to set this to high. I believe there are 3 different profiles that you can set. I believe one is base, one is main, and the other one is high. I set mine to high. Again, this is going to up or basically bump your OBS or Streamlabs OBS to the forefront of your processing power and what's taking priority as far as running on the computer simultaneously. So if you're running Spotify, your game, and Streamlabs OBS or OBS at the exact same time, this is going to take priority over everything. Again, that's going to alleviate a lot of headaches and a lot of processing power that could be routing elsewhere to your game or something like that. It's going to put the Streamlabs OBS or the OBS software at the forefront of that processing power, making it a priority for your stream, which is always a good thing. And number 3, I'm going to take a screenshot and show you guys what I'm talking about. Right below profile, and I believe right below this look ahead and psychovisual tuning, you are going to see a setting that says, quality, max performance. If you hit that drop down, what you want to aim for when you're streaming is max quality, because that's going to give you the best looking stream that you possibly can. Now, a lot of computers, like I said, comparable. If you have a computer comparable to mine, again, my PC specs and everything for that will be in the description of every video if you guys are curious about what I use for a single stream setup, single PC stream setup. You want to aim for max quality. If your computer can handle max quality, it depends on the type of stream that you're trying to run. So if you're running 1280 by 720, it's a little bit easier to sort of tweak these settings. If you're running 1920 by 1080, which is the stream that I run at 30 frames per second rather than 60, because my computer can't necessarily handle 60 frames per second, so I dump it down to 30. You're going to want to set, if you can't make max quality, what you're going to want to do is set that quality drop down to quality instead of max quality. So that'll give it a little bit more headroom as far as trying to run the stream and things like that. So if you can't hit max quality, try quality, see if that works out. If not, the only other 2 I would try to do is either max performance or performance. Those would be the 4 that I would recommend. Those would be the 4 that I would recommend as far as that is concerned in the profile setting. And of course, last but not least, we're going to look at my number one secret for running your stream on a single PC setup. It's really easy, and we're going to show you how to do it right now. So if you have Streamlabs OBS or OBS, it's the exact same process, and I'll show you how to do it with both. So if you have OBS Studio here, or you have Streamlabs OBS like I have here on the left, if you right-click this program, the actual shortcut, I'm going to show you how to do it. So if you see this, the 3rd option down, run as administrator. And there's a way to do this. So every time you click on the icon, whether it's OBS Studio or Streamlabs OBS, there's a way for it to run as administrator every single time. Now you can only do this with one program. So trying to set it for both will not work. So you sort of have to decide, which one you'd rather use. Is the Streamlabs OBS or the OG OBS Studio? Either one works. It's just a matter of setting things up so your stream will look professional, but that's another video. That's another topic. So if you just want to run it as administrator every single time, you just hit this run as administrator here. It'll give you a prompt saying, this program requires admin rights. Do you want to run it as administrator? Basically running as administrator from your desktop every single time you run the program, whether it's Streamlabs OBS or OBS, it's telling your computer, your CPU and your GPU to run that program at as high priority as you can. It's going to be at the absolute forefront of what you're doing on the computer. So running it as administrator puts that sort of up on its own pedestal, and it allows you to run that program and your stream a little bit more effectively, because that program being OBS or Streamlabs OBS is allowing your computer to take that program priority over absolutely everything. So it's sort of the same thing. It just gives a little bit more oomph as the profile and the process priority that I showed you guys earlier. So those 3 settings are going to be paramount. If your computer is sort of struggling with your stream on a single PC setup, those 3 settings are going to be paramount. And then obviously the quality aspect, whether you're doing max quality, quality performance, or max performance, that's going to give your stream a little bit more oomph. So I told you guys I was going to show you sort of how to run it as administrator without having to do this every time. We have to right click the icon, hit run as administrator, it'll give you that prompt and that kind of thing. So if you right click here on either Streamlabs OBS or OBS Studio, you're going to go to properties here on the very bottom. You're going to see where it says advanced here on the bottom right under comments, where it says open file location change icon and advanced. If you hit advanced, you're going to see this here. Choose the advanced properties you want for the shortcut, run as administrator. This option allows you to run this shortcut as an administrator while protecting your computer from unauthorized activity. If you click this run as administrator and then you hit OBS Studio, for example, or you hit OBS or Streamlabs OBS, for example, it will give you the exact same prompt message whenever you open up the program. Now, it doesn't do it from your taskbar, so if I were to open Streamlabs OBS from the taskbar down here, it doesn't do that, because this is technically just a shortcut of this shortcut. It's just pinning the shortcut to the taskbar. So if you left-click this, if I didn't have Streamlabs OBS open, it will give me that prompt for Streamlabs OBS running as administrator, and it will do that every single time you open the program, as long as you do it from the desktop, not from the taskbar. So those are 4 really quick tips that I can say have worked for me in the past. I've been doing this for almost 6 years. I'm a partner on the platform for YouTube. It took me a long time to figure out whether these would work or not, but in cohesion, you know, if they're cohesive settings where you have all 4 settings, like I said, you're going to want to set that profile in the advanced to high, or excuse me, in the output tab to high. You're going to want to set in the advanced tab of OBS settings or Streamlabs OBS settings, you're going to want to set that to high as well. And then for the other 2, it just sort of depends on the power of your computer. Like I said, all of my settings and all of my components for my computer will be in the description. So if you have a PC comparable to mine, and you want to set that to max quality to see how it does, just sort of do a test stream on either Twitch or YouTube, you know, whatever the platform of your choice is that you're streaming to. If not, bump it down to quality. If that doesn't work, go to max performance or performance boost or something like that. There should be the only 4 settings that you're sort of using as far as trying to do the stream. And then last but not least, the coup de grace, or the end all be all, is running that software, whether it's OBS or Streamlabs OBS, as administrator, doing the trick that I just showed you, where you either right click and run as administrator every single time, or you go to properties and then you're going to go to advanced and you're going to run as administrator and tick that little box. As long as you open from the desktop, you should be good to go. So let me know if you guys have any questions about why this works or how it works. If you guys are having trouble with streaming, if any of these worked for you, that's great. If you guys have any questions on why they work, or questions about why I need to do this, please let me know in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe if you guys are brand new to the channel. That way you guys don't miss any new tutorial videos, any new videos, or any new live streams that come out. Also, make sure to follow the link tree information and link in the description that has all of my Discord stuff, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, all of that good stuff. So without any further ado, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hopefully this alleviated some headaches for you. Hopefully you get a little something out of it, and your streams and all the quality of your streams are going to be that much better. Without any further ado, thank you guys again so much for watching. This is your boy Phantom Stilts. I will see you guys on the next video. Take care, guys.